Hello, welcome to Shittywebcomics Weekly. Demons to some, angels to others, whatever. Donate to our Subscribe Star to see into the mind of God and get access to all the information that none of the other YouTubers
Just to see
want
into the
to
mind
know
of
or
God.
want you to know.
If you just leave off at see into the mind of God.
Oh, you know what? That does pretty much spell it all out. Although, for the normie pig cattle out there, they're not going to... Nothing's going to sink in, of course.
They're not going to understand. You need to beat it into their skulls.
They're dumb, inferior, not even the thin skulls of white pedigree males, but which are usually are the biggest contingent of our audience, of course. Reclaim your birthright, reclaim your whiteness by donating only $5.
Birthright.
Yes.
The Cyberborean Ultramensch.
Secure your ticket to the Hyperborean portal, only $5 on our Subscribe Star.
It's a portal specifically that teleports you to Hyperborea. The new Hyperborea.
Alternatively, be left to the mongrel hordes of the Imperium by not donating. The
soulless minions of orthodoxy.
Yes, by not donating $5 to our Subscribe Star. But this one I just wanted to read a nice, happy, fun post. An interesting point also is Batman Beyond, the one where it's another... I don't actually remember. Would Terry something? Yeah, Terry.
It was basically like future Batman.
Yeah, well, it's an old Bruce Wayne. It's like elderly Bruce Wayne, and he's training a new, younger Batman whose name is Terry something. I never watched it, but...
Terry A. Davis.
Yes. But and then next to it is Spoderman with Miles Morales. And the post says, what makes one better than the other? And so somebody replies saying, with ebon green text, and I'll just read it. One, after a long... It doesn't say one. But the first point is, after a long and successful career, Bruce becomes too old for the part. And then, alternatively, Peter gets shot dead in his prime, usually for a bullshit reason. And then the next is Bruce trains Terry to be Batman.
I've never watched the show. I've watched the animated series of Batman, the original.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen Batman Beyond, but it does kind of sound like basically what every single fan would love to see as the ending for Batman.
Yeah.
Is that he basically just gets too old, so he trains his replacement.
He grows old. He's kind of an old guy, but he's still there. He's still around. He's still able to walk, that kind of thing. And is still able to show somebody else the ropes and be like, well, here is something, here's what happened to me. So, Bruce trains Terry to be...
Terry.
Scary Terry.
What?
Terry. No.
What?
That is, apparently that's who Batman Beyond is. A Scary Terry from the wonderful... That was I think the second episode of Rick and Morty, the classic Rick and Morty. That was actually it was a decent episode because it was just, again, that was when Rick and Morty was just silly.
The last vestiges.
Yes. Season 1, that's when, before it jumped the shark. And season 3 was really wearing it. Because seasons 1 and 2 of Rick and Morty were just goofy, ridiculous shit. And if you don't like that, then, that makes sense. But it was before the show got up its own ass and was like, Rick is actually important.
I don't blame anyone for hating Rick and Morty now. Yeah. I actually hate it too. But you have to be capable of admitting that the first season was at least funny.
It had funny things. Even if you didn't like it, even if you don't like anyone who likes it, even. And I understand the same basically for
I can understand
Star Trek Lower Decks.
Resenting the show so horribly, or not having caught it until after that point, the Pickle Rick season 3.
Yeah.
Employment did an actually really excellent video about this whole thing.
I'd recommend that. I recommend Employment.
I recommend you watch that after you watch these. After you watch our videos.
Or at the same time, just in one ear and then the other ear for Employment.
Our videos are still better than his.
Whoa.
But I do recommend, at least, if you run out of things to watch.
Yeah. Yes. But anyways, Bruce trains Terry to be Batman after Terry, not Scary Terry, but just regular Terry makes a convincing case for it. And then, alternatively, Miles's superhero origin circumstances are literally just Peter's in an almost incredulous way, even for comics. It strains credulity. That's not good.
Whoa, that's bad. Whoa, mama.
The next one is Bruce is alive and mentors Terry, which makes for an interesting dynamic, as opposed to Peter has to die and Miles takes it upon himself to continue being Spider-Man. Which even that's interesting because now they're trying to rebrand, so he's not actually Spider-Man. He's like Spider Venom or fucking the Dark Spider,
Black Spider-Man.
Just Black Spider-Man or well, I mean, there's a lot of other things. What would you call a Black Spider-Man? The same thing that you call a Black Astronaut.
What would you call Spider-Man if he were black?
Yes, there's a lot of things. Simple.
What would you call Miles Morales if he were an astronaut?
What would you call Miles Morales if he were black? But the next point, though, is Terry has his own friends, romantic interests, supporting characters, villains, and then Miles literally takes over Peter's hero and private life. Even his girlfriend is a hand-me-down from Peter. That is true.
Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
Wow, that is really pathetic. I can't believe anyone would ever like this character.
Holy shit. Yeah, that's the thing. They could have come up with completely different girlfriend that had nothing to do with Peter Parker or Spider-Man. Just, here's a different girl. Here's a new girl. She's something else. Maybe she's another two races. Maybe she's half fucking El Salvadorian and half Trinidadian or something like that. And
don't forget then, now you got to also throw in all the sexualities, the many multispectral sexualities.
She's NB and demisexual at the same time, of course. They could have done that, though. They really could have just done that, but instead, it's not just playing it safe. It's ultimately that they are lazy. They're comic book writers. They're lazy. They weren't just being like, let's go with familiar stuff. It's that they're not that good.
Talent either. They just don't have the talent.
That goes for the talent too. That's what I think of your talent, as Mel Gibson, the wonderful Mel Gibson, would say. Our peer, Mel Gibson, peer and friend in a different universe. He would be friends. We would be good friends. The next point, though, Terry tells his own story of a Batman in the future with different tech and society and a different personality beneath the mask. And then, as opposed to, Miles tells no original stories whatsoever. Everything he does is recycled from Peter. He has no personality to speak of. The next is Terry's costume is a fairly original take on Bruce's costume. In fact, it covers the face entirely, I noticed. That it's looks kind of bizarre.
Yeah, down to the mouth and the jaw, but it still allows you to see his mouth.
Yeah.
Because it's basically future tech. It's like super high tech.
It's future
I don't know. Is it nanotech? I don't know.
Future real, if you will. Miles's costume is Peter's costume, shoddily painted black. What a shame.
What a shame.
Terry usually brings along a stylized futures aesthetic and setting with him, and then Miles just uses the existing generic New York street setting Ultimate already had. Ultimate Spider-Man, specifically from the comics.
Now, technically, also, this is, I don't remember if there was a actual comic book of Batman Beyond. Remember there was a show.
I imagine there was. I didn't because it's not that I didn't want to watch Batman Beyond. It's that I kind of just stopped watching TV entirely around that time.
I missed out on the show. I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, I could.
Well, a lot of people say it's good, and I like the animated series.
I feel like catching up on a show these days, it has to be so fucking. Yeah. I mean, there probably are several shows that are so fucking good that I haven't started watching.
We're saying this while rewatching Silicon Valley.
But I mean, that's Silicon Valley. That's a whole. That's
we know it's good.
That's like wrapping up in a warm blanket at this time. At this point,
Wrapping up a warm blanket
in
that's made
human
of crack
existence.
cocaine.
It's the most basted with red sauce place for plants pills, messing up the way fellow talks kind of show in human existence. It says stuff no other show even has the balls to say about anything, including especially about, it says the stuff about big tech you don't even see people talking about on YouTube, because most of them are just, Mossad plants on YouTube, just saying only what they're allowed to say. Not that Silicon Valley is about naming them, but it's just, talking about it's actually making funny jokes and material.
It comes closer to that than a lot of the big-time right-wing YouTubers.
Yeah, it's funnier than any of them, any YouTuber could ever possibly be, too, because it's Mike Judge of Beavis and Butthead. Did you like Idiocracy? You want to see a TV show where they make fun of big tech on that level? Actually, kind of on an advanced level, even beyond that.
Hyper-Cyberborean.
But yeah, if you want to, you should go watch fucking Silicon Valley. Go pirate it if you have to. Or you can watch tons of the show just on clips on YouTube. I don't care. I don't care about anyone except myself. But, Terry usually brings along the last thing is Terry's story is confined to a hypothetical future timeline in which he exists, whereas Miles takes over as the main Spider-Man in tons of stories across all media, that's certainly an interesting point as well. And the next thing is another post with "This is your home" in the Spider-Man font, also known as the PlayStation 3 font, but which is very triggering. But it looks like it's, I think, Spider-Man 2099 is holding Miles Morales over a trash can.
Mild.
This is your home now. But this post says, Miles Morales has been the cool new thing, TM, for over a decade now, closing in on 15 years. When was this posted? 2025. This was actually this year. This was only a couple weeks ago. Okay.
2025?
What was the other one? The other one is from... the previous one I was reading from is actually from 2019.
Okay, yeah.
And it may have been responding to this screenshot, in a way. Or maybe not. But it says, Miles Morales has been the cool new thing for over a decade now, closing in on 15 years. He's had a massive push from Marvel, leading in his own movie less than 7 years after his creation. And yet, La Ebon Arrow, his comics don't sell more than Peter's. His movies don't sell more tickets than Peter's. His games don't sell more copies than Peter's. He doesn't move more toys and merch than Peter.
That's actually also, it's kind of an interesting aspect to this is, even the Spider-Verse movie, everyone was like, anyone who's seen that movie is like raving about it all the time. Oh, it's the most amazing. This is the best movie. This is the best superhero movie ever made. I cried so hard. I cried.
Butterfly
the movie
tears.
just didn't make enough money to get continued.
Yeah, that was the thing, is that the first Into the Spider-Verse movie I thought was decent. I thought it was okay as to watch, just like surface detail. I don't want to say turn off your brain. No, but I thought just watching it.
You don't have to turn off your brain.
Here's the thing. I thought the old, kind of washed up Peter Parker in that mentors Miles Morales was more interesting than anyone else in that entire movie.
Yes.
And then, of course,
character.
The stylish visual of it, I thought was interesting to look at. And that kept me going through the whole movie. And then I watched it and I was like, okay, neat. Then the second one came out. And I watched both movies like a year or two after they had already come out.
Yeah.
The second one came out, it ends on a cliffhanger, and I was like, I don't care anymore. I don't like any of these people.
Miles is basically about to doom the entire fucking world and the universe.
The multiverse, even. And I know the whole premise of the first movie, the first Into the Spider-Verse, is the multiverse too. But it still at least goes to one of the multiverses and just kind of stays with that. It just tells the story in that. It's like, here, this is an alternate universe. We'll tell the story in this, basically.
second movie honestly kind of ruined it. It feels like they did the same thing they do with a lot of fucking big properties.
I know they had a bunch of crossovers in the first movie too, with the Spider Pig and all that shit, but they all came to the one, and it was kind of played as a joke. I'm not saying that there was none at all. Some idiot out there, of course, with a very low IQ will be like, there was plenty of it. No, you're wrong. You don't know what you have no fucking comprehension of speech. Learn how to comprehend speech first, then you should be permitted to say something. But if you say something before you have the comprehension, you should be put in a gas chamber. And not simply left there either. Some things should happen of note, some specific things. But anyways, yeah, what?
What?
Well, the rest of the post, I guess. I needed to point that out, though, because that was extremely important, of course.
I've seen the movie. I've seen both of the movies. The first movie, I think, I saw on Netflix.
Yeah.
I had no idea the movie had come out either. And then the second movie, long after the movie had left theaters, people stopped giving a damn.
Yeah. Which nobody really cared. I noticed the first movie, people were like, oh, okay, because of the style. But the second movie was really kind of a thud.
And it didn't get... The second movie needed to make like a certain amount of money so that it could justify making another sequel, and it didn't make it.
Yeah, it just kind of went nowhere. And of course, it's Sony, so, I mean, they've been hemorrhaging money with their shitty Marvel fucking properties.
Yeah, they're very stupid.
Yeah, the only ones that made money were the ones that Marvel did of Spider-Man, which eventually they resulted to the multiverse too.
Well, and then also the original Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, of course. Which were made by people who had sort of a more hands-off thing, except, of course, for 3. You can tell 3 was, the studio stepping in, being like, now you have to have this and this and this because we say so. And apparently Sam Raimi was, pretty put off of that, of course. And then the same thing happened when it came time for him to do the Doctor Strange movie, where the studios were like, here, we're going to have some of the shittiest garbage in this movie, and you have to put it in.
Did we talk about that with Mail Thorne, where it's like,
yes,
you've got a movie where Sam Raimi is directing.
By this time, months ago,
a super smart magician that can do anything with magic. You can put him in anything, but no, it has to be this multiverse storyline.
With one of the worst characters in Marvel history, America Chaves.
America Chaves.
She sucks.
Travis.
She's especially bad in that movie, too, as a character.
But it's funny. She's especially bad in that movie. She's the worst character in the movie. She's still better than she is in the comics.
Yeah, of course. But, I mean, that's a fucking low bar. And the thing is, the best version of America Chaves you'll ever see will be if she gets put into the Marvel Rivals game, where she'll be fully sexualized. You'll see her spandex going so far up her ass, it's wiping her pancreas.
Some kind of some hentai dojin.
Yes.
I was actually thinking, well, could I get AI to create some incredibly degrading porn of her? But I don't know how to...
No, not really. It never keeps consistent with like actual styles and shit, unless you basically like remake it from scratch almost. It's kind of obnoxious. AI still isn't there yet, of course.
I mean, I don't really care. It just has to copy the outfit.
Yeah, which it wouldn't be able to. It would be like, what? What are you trying to describe? What is this? Well, we think that you're trying to put a jacket and shorts on a girl? Oh, okay. No, it's like, no, it has to be spandex that is gripping her pussy so tight you can see her fucking urethra. But no, yeah.
Her clitoral hood.
Fucking hold on while I pull back your clitoral hood for maximum stimulation. Shut up, bitch. Anyway, that was a Patrice O'Neal reference. Who else are you going to listen to on YouTube who just casually makes offhanded Patrice O'Neal references? None of them. That's why every other YouTuber sucks compared to us. That's not my opinion.
We are the Ubermensch.
Yes. Which is another reason to donate to our Subscribe Star. But let me hear. I will finish reading this, but we're almost done. This post says he's not just as much Spider-Man as Peter. He never will be. He's had 14 years to fill that role, and he just hasn't. He's nowhere near as popular except with black comic nerds and maybe white cuck weirdos. Whoa. He's never
It's already a small market.
Yes. I mean, it's a niche of a niche of a niche at this point.
Comic books themselves are a niche, unfortunately.
Yes. And then,
as much as I don't like that.
And then cape shit is the niche beneath even that. But this guy says he's never going to be the successor, not when Peter still brings in so much more money. They can give him Peter's villains, Peter's love interest, have Peter himself hyping him up. They can give him every other superpower in the book. None of it helps the character. His movies
that was actually one of the other things. That was starting to really annoy me. And I think they introduced that in either the first or second fucking Miles Morales movie, where he has
Venom
has
shock.
The power to shoot electricity and turn invisible.
That was the first. I think that is in the first one, because that was after like 10 years of or maybe 7, but it was after several years of realizing that just having him be Black Spider-Man really isn't enough. He has to have something at least unique about him. Because they didn't know how to give him a personality without it being, as we said, as we had been pointing out for years, it would be racist.
Were screaming token.
If they gave him flaws, it would be called racist. It's the Galbrush syndrome. The thing is, Galbrush applies also to any non-who white people. White people can be like crazy goofballs who mess up but are lovable. Really, nobody else can do that. I mean, they can, but in the comics world, your readership is 90% shitlibs who are like, this is problematic. If you do it in something else, like TV or movies, some people will actually be basted enough to be, like Dinesh in Silicon Valley. He's one of the most buffoonery goofballs. He's constantly called a subpar coder by the white guy, the white Satanist, though.
The joke there is just that he is that petty and he is that fragile and selfish.
It's again, the brown guy is petty and fragile and selfish. That helps the comedy. That helps him be funny. That helps the other characters be funny, bouncing off of him. Even all the way until last season, where Guilfoyle makes an AI bot just to respond to him, and he has no idea. He's like, "Oh, we are friends." A fucking Dinesh is like talking to the AI bot unknowingly, and the AI bot is just like, "Fuck you, I hate you," and all that shit. And it's like, "Oh, that's my friend Guilfoyle," and then realizes Guilfoyle's not even at his computer, and it's like, "Huh?" And it's just funny.
It's just funny.
It's just funny. And there's other goofing around shit like that throughout the entire show. And they can do that. But if you did that with Miles Morales, people would be like, they're making him look like a bad person. This is why we shouldn't have their white people writing this. It's just the same bullshit, the same political bullshit.
I do think now, and I could be wrong on this, but I think people are especially tired of that bullshit now.
But on the surface also,
this, where he was
it's important to point out we've been saying this for decades. We've been consistent about this for decades. Everyone else is now copying off of what we've said about this.
Yeah, and I bring up Sam Hyde. People probably think that Sam Hyde invented this viewpoint. He did not.
He did not. But yeah, exactly. And now, well, the thing is, now it's safe to say this, though, of course. But we've been pointing it out for all this time. We in a way have made it safe for these weak, soft YouTubers. I don't mean Sam Hyde, though, but the weak, soft, monetized YouTubers to say now Google is like, oh, let's give them this thing. Let's let people be monetized, saying this safe opinion. Now that there's money to be made, Google's more than happy to make money off of you, the gullible pay pig cape cuck, who's like, oh, I don't like this, and it's like, oh, here's a YouTuber who says that they don't like it too. And it's like, oh, I'm going to give them money. You've been suckered in. The only way to redeem yourself is to give us the money instead, of course. But
redeem. Sar.
The rest of this though is none of it helps the character whose movies are glazed as masterpieces, yet they grossed less at the box office than The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and that's not even taking inflation into account. ASM, Amazing Spider-Man, has had its worst run in years, the comic I think they are talking about specifically here. Absolute dog shit, hated by everyone, and still outsells Miles's book. Black Spider-Man is just another derivative. He's never been anything more than that. So anyways, yeah, that wraps up that. If you want to be ahead of the curve, again, if you want to be ahead of the people who are pandering to you to get your money to give back to the woke mob at Google, then again, only $5 a month on our Subscribe Star. And for everyone else, should have listened to Shitty Web Comics.